Hey yo, what is up? You might have seen this tank floating around in the rumor mill for the past couple of weeks. And this is the 116 F-3 Chinese Tier 10 heavy tank. And what is special about this tank is it's a Tier 10. And of course, being a Tier 10, it can only be some kind of reward tank or some kind of tank that you're going to earn either through some tokens, or maybe it's a clan war event tank, maybe it's a ranked reward tank. It could be one of those sale tanks that you could buy, like the Object 780, where you pay maybe tokens, or maybe you pay with free XP, or maybe you pay with gold, or maybe with you pay with credits, or maybe a combination of all of the above, who knows. But the Tier 10 116 F-3 Chinese heavy tank is an auto loader, and that is what's going to make this tank slightly different. It is not going to be comparable to what you know from a regular Chinese heavy tank like the 5A or the 113. An auto loader means it's going to have a clip magazine. This is a 3-shot auto loader, and the closest tank that I can think of that it similar to is going to be the Rhinoceronte, because the Rhinoceronte does 490 alpha and this beast does 530 alpha. That is absolutely insane. That's nearly 1600. But the reason why I'm comparing it to the Rhinoceronte, not because of just the alpha. The Rhinoceronte, of course, is 490 alpha on the gun with 3 shots, and this is a 530 alpha with 3 shots. The reason why it is closest to the Rhinoceronte is because of the intra clip. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because the intra clip has changed from the initial parameters. It was supposed to be 3.75 seconds intra clip, which would have made this tank incredibly deadly. 3.75 seconds is it's going to be slightly better than the Rhinoceronte, but now they have nerfed it to 5 seconds intra clip, and that is what, I don't know, for me it's going to diminish the value of the tank. It's going to make this tank less appealing for a lot of players. The initial stats, 3.75 of intra clip, was going to make this tank pretty good. It's going to make this tank as good, or if not better, than the Rhinoceronte. But now you need to think twice whether you want this tank or not. Now, if you're a collector, if you got to have every tank, then maybe you want this tank. But if you want to be competitive, if you want to be the guy that's doing all the damage, being the hero, 5 second intra clip isn't going to make this tank stand out. It's not going to make it super competitive. This tank, of course, is going to have 2250 hit points, 840 horsepower. It's going to be a 58-ton tank. I'm not going to lie, this tank does look pretty good. It looks like a regular tank, nothing too too radical about it. It does look pretty. I like the way it looks. In terms of mobility and speed, it only has a 14.48 power to weight ratio on a 58-ton tank, so it's not going to be agile or highly mobile tank. In fact, the top speed is only 35 kilometers an hour going forward, and 25 in reverse. Now 25 reverse speed is pretty good, which means you can poke and duck back into safety pretty well. But in terms of, you know, wiggling your tank, the power to weight ratio only 14.48 is on the low side. It's closer to a super heavy kind of performance. The rotation speed is 24 degrees per second, so rotating the hull and the turret isn't going to be that much of a problem. The view range is pretty good, 400 meters of view range. This means you can play second line heavy tank. You can almost play like a tank destroyer. 400 meters means you're going to get your full 440 view range, not a problem at all. You know, just running BIA crew, running some food, and you are already at 440 meters. The hull armor and the turret armor isn't that good. Now the Rhinoceronte has 135 millimeters of frontal hull armor. This has 195 millimeters of frontal hull armor. The Rhinoceronte has 190 millimeters of turret armor. This has 300 millimeters of turret armor. So in armor wise, I think it's going to perform a little bit better than the Rhinoceronte. The penetration is 266 on standard AP shells, and the premium shells, which is APCR, will yield 325 millimeters of penetration. If you look at the shell velocity as well, standard AP shell is going to yield 960 meters per second, while the APCR 1350 meters per second, and that is pretty pog. The main event is the gun. 530 alpha is going to give you that kind of alpha damage that you are looking for, and it's an autoloader, so you're gonna get, you know, in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you're gonna get, I don't know, 1600 damage, which is pretty, sorry, in about 10 seconds, you're gonna get 1600 damage. Because you're going to fire 3 shots, and that is going to be pretty devastating for whoever is going to face up to you. Plus, with that high penetration, it's going to be pretty good. The only problem here is the dispersion is going to be pretty bad. 0.40 dispersion. This is really bad dispersion compared to a Rhinoceronte, which has a 0.32 dispersion. Even the Kranwagen has better dispersion, 0.38, and the Kranwagen has, you can consider it pretty bad dispersion for an autoloader. But yeah, the dispersion is going to be the downside. The aim time as well, 2.59 seconds. Even the Kranwagen has better aim time than the 116 F-3. Yeah, 8 degrees of gun depression. Kranwagen gives you 12 degrees of gun depression, while the Rhinoceronte gives you 10 degrees of gun depression. The Chinese F-116 F-3 only gives you 8 degrees of gun depression. Yeah, so this is the new Chinese heavy tank auto loading tier 10, which is going to be either some kind of clan war reward or ranked reward, or some kind of tank that you need to buy with tokens or buy with a combination of credits, gold, or free XP, just like the Object 780. We'll see when the time comes, but yes, this tank has been nerfed slightly just in the last couple of days, so I wanted to make a video about this tank finally, because I did not make a video about this tank because I knew there were going to be a couple of changes in the F-16-13. This is the latest stats on the tank, and probably these are going to be the final stats for the 116 F-3. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.